If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you about it. It's free, which is amazing. And there are these really cool creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you, so it's easy to be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. And you get to make money with no minimum listenership, which is really cool. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started right away. Yoga teachers, mindfulness leaders, and energy workers, are you ready to stop side hustling and start making an income doing what you love? Welcome to the Marketing Off the Mat podcast. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we'll dive into conversations with successful creatives in wellness, business, marketing, and more to uncover practical methods to take you from A to B and have some fun along the way. My name is Jessica Cross, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Marketing Off the Mat. It's Jessica. I'm so glad that you're here today. We're talking about something that is near and dear to my heart and something that I think is a mindset that is really prevalent in our society. And I call it moving the goalpost. So there might have been someone who was coining this term that I've probably heard in all of my own personal development work. It's sportsy and perhaps maybe not the exact right terminology, but I think when we all say goalpost, we know what that means. So we're going to use that today in this discussion about moving the said goalpost. So, and recently I was sharing on my Instagram about how I recently was looking at my running stats, and short story, I started running voluntarily during the pandemic. And it's something that I only had done either in athletics or, PE when I was a kid, and I hated it. And suddenly the pandemic hit and I found myself really wanting to run, like really wanting to pick that back up. And I have for the past 2 years, began really just running out my door, or eventually I ended up getting a treadmill as well, but getting up to move in a different way. And it has served me so well. But I'm not fast at all. And I don't ever plan to be. I just enjoy moving. And I think, it's another part of my practice, is in addition to meditation and flow and yin, all of those things that I love to bring into my movement practice and in my mind body practice. It's another tool in my kit. So I love it. And I recently realized in the past month, I ran 57 miles, which if you're a runner, you might be like, that's good. That's not a ton, by runner standards. And that's exactly what I thought when I looked at that stat. I was like, wow, that's cool. And then also too, that's not very far, like if by runner standards, quote unquote. That's the problem, because if I were to look back at myself in 2020 and I said, hey, 2020 Jess, you just ran 57 miles this month, I would have laughed at you. I'd been like, I'm sorry, I did what? No way. Don't believe it. So that's the thing, is like, it was such a big accomplishment for me. And it's not maybe the most miles I've ran in a month, but just looking at it, my brain immediately, before I could even like pat myself on the back for showing up, said, oh, that's not that much. You could do more. You could have done more. And what more, quote unquote, is, who even knows, right? But my brain immediately said, you could do better. That's not that great. Let's not celebrate that. You could do more. So I think when we're, this isn't a podcast about running, by the way, but this is a podcast about us humans running businesses and all of the things that business will bring up for us. So here is an exact example of how, we move the goalpost. We say, I ran maybe 5 miles in March 2020, and I ran 57 miles in March of 2022. And even though that is a massive percentage increase, I still didn't recognize it at that time, in that moment. And so we have to when we're looking at ourselves, we're looking at accomplishments and how far we've come in, our personal lives, perhaps, as we're working in asana, we've been working on, getting our headstand for years and years and years. And we finally stick it for half a second and away from the wall. And we were like, oh, that's still not that good. But your previous version of yourself, when you first started practicing, would have been so impressed that you were able to do that. So when we look at this in our business, that same mindset comes right on over. So if we're looking at, where we've been in the past year, maybe we think, oh, like, I really wish I would have done, I would have had 10 clients a month. I really wish I would have had X amount of people in my public classes, or, that I would have done a little bit more to my website or built my email list. But when you think of how far that you've come since you perhaps finished your teacher training, or perhaps you finished your, modality training, that you have come so far that you're actually getting paid to do what it is that you do. You have grown online so much that you're actually having conversations with people that are saying, hey, I see that you're doing that workshop. Are you going to do that again? Maybe you're going to do it online. I would love to be there. People are reaching out to you. People are starting to see, as you are expressing yourself as, hey, I can help you with this thing. People are starting to notice, and it takes time. Yeah. So it's so easy for us to move that goalpost when we go back to this example. Every single year, every single month, when we look at our stats, quote unquote, in our businesses, I would encourage you today to take stock of where you've been in the past 6 months to a year. How can you celebrate where you are now and how much that you have actually accomplished by showing up? So we may not have those kind of stats in our business that we can look at our watch and say how far, but take a couple of minutes to jot down 3 things that you've accomplished in the past 6 months in your business, because I think you're going to surprise yourself and celebrate. I don't care what it is. If it's, posting about it, if it's taking yourself out for a fancy coffee or a massage, or however you celebrate, do it, because this is how we start helping our brain understand that these steps add up to where it is that we want to go. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let's stop moving the goalposts. Let's start celebrating ourselves and all of our accomplishments, because the more that we do this, the more that we can show up for our students and do the same. All right. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Catch you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to the Marketing Off the Mat podcast. I love hanging with you as we figure this thing out together. Do you have an idea or something to share with me? Send me a DM on Instagram at jessicacross.co and let me know what's on your mind. I'd be so grateful if you shared this with someone who could use this episode. And if you get a chance, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Catch you on the next episode. See ya.